This is my water taxi. I'm exploring Baie-Verte Marsh, and one thing I'm trying to do with this channel is to show you what erosion covered and erosion uncovered. And the posts were there, the posts are gone, basket showed up on the shoreline and then it's gone. Its trenches are there and then they're gone. Aboiteau are there and then they're gone. So the more measurement I do, the more inspection of the shoreline I do, the more somehow this is my way to save history, to document it, to show it to you. Preservation, well, often the stuff is gone anyway. So it's a race. And thank you for watching. Même ma masse. Ok, c'est beau, c'est beau. Ok, on pousse, on pousse. Oh, parfait. Oh, les gens, un peu plus vite. Ah oui, un petit peu de boîte, cette là. Ok. Hey, comment ça, ça? C'est bon, on prend le sirant. Un autre sirant. Ok, tiens un peu, là. Ok.
Numéro 1.
Good day. About a month ago, I went for the first time this year after my 4 years of visit there at Danks Point. And over many videos, I'm trying to document a road that was built there and a dike road. A bit different than Baie-Verte, more flat, but it's defensively have both function. And there was an Aboiteau there, and on that last trip the Aboiteau was gone, lift up by the ice and move away forever.
Numéro 2. Numéro 3.
I think I just discovered an Acadian treasure. Yeah. And it's perfectly preserved, not cracked, not complete except for the roof.
Numéro 4. Numéro 5.
Okay, I put a few strapping, a few screws. I know it's not the best, but just the idea is to gain some time. And I took a bunch of measurement, and it's time to go.
The groove is not all the way through that beam, it's just partly, and there's a dowel right here, a dowel.
And I came to visit the Aboiteau. This is one year after. First of all, you can see seaweed on the top cover. There was no seaweed last year. So now everything's in place. The door's still there. Yes. Yeah, it's pretty solid. Okay, I removed the top pieces and was attached with metal strapping. This top pieces last year was in the water here. And the door was coming out a little bit. I push it back and I put those two brackets to hold it in place. So I take the bracket out now. They all hold it. They are screwed with stainless steel screw. And try to move the door. The brackets are removed. Now the door is free to be moved out. It's already detached from there. It's not in the groove. And this side might be still in the groove. Okay, the cover is removed. First thing, yes, it's full of mud. Okay. The thickness of the wood is this one plus this one. It's one piece, about 9 inches. I get all kind of measurement on a piece of paper. The groove is right here, right at the end of the angle is the groove at 20 inches center from the front. This is the groove. Okay, this is the height. The groove is very slightly. This is the block that keep the door in place, and the block on this side is right here behind. It was no wire, it was right here behind. So basically the door go against that. There's a little block pushing against the pin, and then the cover on top join this one. So the cover is going a bit above this one, not exactly in line because it's on top here. So it goes against the other one. So there's a check here. There's from the cover here, it goes down. Okay, there was no piece of wood there on top. Okay, so one big piece, big board. They are flush to the edge. The angle is about 45 degrees. The pin is slightly grooved on top, a little bit slightly, no more than needed. And there's a block of wood, this block of wood, with a little around this ear, push against, and it's dowel. And then the cover goes on top of that. So when the door goes up in line with this here. If it goes up that much, it goes at the same height as this, probably less. Okay, so the door is on the water. The door is very heavy because it's waterlogged, but sound very strong. It's appeared to be two pieces of wood. So I'm gonna put the door back in place and rebuild that the best I can. And I have to go. I'm gonna put the mud back into it too. So it's totally filled in with mud. Okay, this is the door. It's 23 inches from this, not the pin included, from here to the other side, by 19 from there to the bottom. And there's an angle. That's the inside. That's the outside of the door. Now I'm going to put this back in place. A few more measurements and we're done. Okay, all back in place and stronger than last year actually. And I was able to push the top piece more in the real place. And see, there's a spacer on this side, but not on this side. The spacer was in the water and it's buried in the mud here. I put it in the mud so it doesn't go adrift. And the door, I have a little block on each side with stainless steel screws. That should not move. And something I noticed, see the height of the roof, and look, those are the first branches of the Aboiteau, okay, of the dike. So this most likely the original height, and those are the first piece here built up that dike. And then after that, there's the natural growth over the 270 years after this was installed. Aboiteau of the French Causeway. That's what it looked like now. And many parts were in the water last year. So this, and this, and this piece here too, that is now beside. And I put it back together. And I went back and I took the door out to see what's inside and what's the measurement of the door. So I was able to complete the drawing of this Aboiteau. And on the side, this is the water. This is the marsh side. There's some debris on this side. The dike is here. And this is the Aboiteau. One more done.
Numéro 6. Numéro 7.
So, on that same trip, looking around to find that lost Aboiteau, I seen a little piece of wood uncovered by a recent erosion, and I found another Aboiteau. In this case, it was a complete Aboiteau, covered by about 1.5 inches of sand and mud, and a portion was uncovered. And those were the first drawings try to figure out what it looked like. And then the tide came in, couldn't do no more. So I went back 2 more trips. I was able to take measurement by tracing parts of the Aboiteau. And those are my measurement. Okay. Now, out of this and this, I got the door of the Aboiteau. Okay. Don't panic. This is not the real door. Okay. The real door is very spongy. I had to put tape around it because it won't last too long. It's very like, you can press it like mush mush. Okay, so in that door I noticed that one pin was big and round and one pin was short. Let's do this way around. One short pin, one long pin, and it has to do because the carving of the tree, one side, one edge, top edge is a bit more narrow than the other edge, so therefore the pin was adapted for that. Okay, so this is what the door looked like, and the discovery is the following: 1 1/4 inch reduced to 1 inch with a pin. Do you see this going down here? Well, that's important. That is my mistake when I built my own Aboiteau. I didn't do that. I kept the same thickness all the way from the bottom to the top, and that created a problem for me, and I do not have a solution except to carve the roof to adapt the rotation. So, problem solved. From this work, I made a plan, and this is to size what I seen on the site. Now the tide was coming back again, and this is the result. This is the Aboiteau as it look now on the side. Now it's covered by about 1.5 inches to about 3 inches of sand. I put a lot of sand on top of it to hope that it will survive a bit longer. The other one was there for 3 years, and on the 4th year it was gone. So I expect this one will last probably about 3 years. If I keep putting rock on top and try to prevent the erosion to take it away. And those are the measurement. The roof, as you see, is not square exactly, so it's on the cut on the edge of the tree, so there's a bit of slope and the cover. And the bottom is very thick. I was surprised. Very thick bottom. So the core of the tree will be more, the center more here. And the damage I've seen is this is full of mud, and the sand is full of water, and on the winter when it freezes, it creates pressure on the edge, and it's pushing those edge in and cracking here. A full little section. It was just the beginning. The wall was squished in, okay? And as a result, the door was jammed. Okay, and this is the detail. The details too. Now, one important thing I found is when they make the opening for the clapet. So it from the initial 6 inches on the inland to the clapet needs 7 3/4, and back the tree is carved in a way that you're reducing back and give the original 6 1/4 channel toward the sea. So there's a carving inside because the door need a lip. The door occupy a lot of space, but the carving is done to come back to the initial channel. Now, this is the fun part. I could understand why my clapet didn't work well, is because this is the solution. You see this on top right here? Okay, look again at the profile of this clapet, which this is a copy. This is made of styrofoam. But it's exactly as the other one. I took great care to replicate as best as I could. So you see the thick, it's 1 inch, 1 inch and a quarter, and right here there's a slope. Okay, and that's important. Okay, and I found 3 carved Aboiteau, and this is the only one with a clapper valve. Is as original it can be. It was frozen in time and in mud, but it's very mush mush now. The water tried to come in from the sea, and eventually when the tide rise, the water go against clapper valve and make it tight, because this is pushing again a lips of about 1/2 inch on the bottom, 3/4 on the edge, and also it seemed to have a little movement. Is it because it's worn out? I'm not sure. A little movement like this too. See, this groove is not just down, it's an angle like this. So when they hook the door to it, they pull, and as the pressure from the sea happen, it's able to jam itself against the roof and against the lip in the bottom. And when the water from the inland try to get out when the tide is low, it go like this, and it goes against the roof. So this one is probably just a trick that if the wave or the tide's coming in, it will give a little incentive to the door to come down and take position. It adds some freedom to move in that direction too, to make probably a better seal. Now, there's the second thing I constat, and I found other Aboiteau before, and I couldn't figure out why there was no hole for peg to hold the roof in place. And the thing is, there's no need for it. There's no need for it because there's the weight of the levee or the dike on top of it. And if you put peg on the long board like this, how do you replace the door? Now, posts on each side of the Aboiteau, and then the dike is built up here on top. Okay, how to replace this? Well, if you can remove the flat rock and a bit of the earth above, you can spring the board open a little tiny bit, just enough to give you 1 inch clearance. Put your hand in there, undo the door, bring the door to you, look at it, fix it, copy it, and put in, and people lifting the little board a little bit, and you can slide in the door and hook it there and test it. And if it all work good, if it move, then just uncover again that low section you uncover here. It's not a big dike on top. So, and then put the flat rock against the old thing to protect. And it one more tide and one more tide and one more tide. And in this case, tides for 370 years. But it's the only Aboiteau that is complete, and it's ready to be removed from that side and treated properly to preserve it and it's a full example of an Aboiteau, and the roof is on crack. The only section that is a bit damaged is this section over here because it's pushed in. It's not cracked, it's just pushed in like this from 5 1/4 on top to 6 1/4 on the bottom. This is almost 1 inch pushed in from this side here. The door is still in place. It needs to be preserved. Yeah, that is your heritage. I'm impressed. Now, why does it last so long? Salt water and mud. The mud fill up the gap in the wood structure. The salt water prevent rot, and bingo. And what the danger are: erosion. The weight on top is gone. The dike is gone. And the ice damage in the winter and the sun damage. So if you prevent this thing to be in the sun by covering again, as I did many times actually, but now I put enough fitting on top, I think it should be good for a while. And yeah, that's what it is. This is where the Aboiteau is, from that small rock in the center of the screen. I add a big rock on top of the roof to make sure nothing moves. And I had 2 more rocks here, but otherwise there's 2 rocks and 1 rock there. It's only changed on the surface, and it's looking good. It look a bit higher up now that I put more sediment on it than the side of it. That's good too. So the door start about here. There's a little flat rock here. I can feel the opening for the pin right here. It is, and the cover, the clapet, finish about here. Start here, finish here, because it's not on the slope.
L'Aboiteau à Jean-Luc.
And look to the side, the Aboiteau, and on the other side, and this is inside the Aboiteau. So it worked. So let's try to get to the door. Let's try to get to the door. I hope there's no muskrat. Okay, I'm on top of the Aboiteau now. That zig. Ooh, right here. Yes. Oh. Okay. Now, what I'm here for is to get the door out for an inspection. Okay, this is the wood there, see it? Okay, and the door is there. So I'm going to try to get to the door. Oh, it's really going good, but this is where the door is. So to get to the door, right here. So for that, I have an inspection cover. This is the cover right here. So I can take the door out. Okay. I might have to pull some out. Okay, let's do that. It's a plank type Aboiteau with a long cover, but there's two pieces here for the inspection. So I'm gonna take the cover out. Okay, the cover is removed, and now you can see the door. And I'm gonna take the door out. There we go. So I put those stopper behind, clean a little bit. It's pretty good. Okay, what the door look like? Very good condition. Okay, no rot. I don't think it will rot. This is salt water mostly here. Now, look at that, the way I built my door. Same thickness all the way. And I found a problem is when the door goes down. It was leaking here. Okay. So I had to make a groove inside to receive this part of the door. See this thing right here, this edge. But I found a real Aboiteau door, and now I know the answer. So this is my Aboiteau door. After 3 years, you see when I made it, I make a little mistake. I almost cut the dowel off. Well, yeah, those things happen, woodworking. Okay, now why is there a thing here? Well, because there was a hole in that piece of wood. That's a recycled piece of wood. So it was a hole, so I plugged the hole, and this is acting as a puller. I can pull on the door like this. Yeah, so let's put it back in place. For my inspection done. And this cover goes on top right here. And this cover goes there. And if I had a big rock, if I was a seaside, we are far from the sea here, there's no wave. But if there was a sea, I will put a big rock on top of that too. So now I'm just gonna screw this back in place. So inspection completed. And I'm happy to see that the vegetation grew on top of the dike and holding things better together. At one point I lost a lot of the dike and I had to rebuild it, but now with the vegetation in place, it's helping to keep keeping stable. So this is my little channel, and now we are at low tide. Oh, it's better here. Okay, back to safety. This could be the cover of an Aboiteau. And the wall was right there. So someplace along here, it could have been an Aboiteau. Maybe there someplace, or there. And it have all the characteristic of a cover.